Welcome to the Black Music Collective podcast. The Recording Academy and Ebony have joined forces to celebrate Black music with a new dynamic 6-episode podcast series titled The Black Music Collective. This podcast will bring to you some of the top creators and business leaders in Black music. So today, I am so excited to have two legends who have played an integral part in the music industry, none other than Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Jam and Lewis have won 5 Grammy Awards and been nominated in the Producer of the Year category 11 times. They've also been nominated for an Academy Award and in 2020, an Emmy for Outstanding Music Direction for the CBS special Let's Go Crazy, the Grammy salute to Prince. And of course, Jam also served as the first Black chair of the Recording Academy. They have earned more than 100 gold, platinum, multi-platinum, diamond, it just goes on and on, albums for their work with such artists as Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, Luther Vandross, George Michael, Gwen Stefani, Kanye West, and dozens more. Please welcome our guests, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis.
Thank you and good night.
Hey!
I can't do nothing after all that. Shoot.
That's right.
Well, you know what? It must be, whenever you're somewhere being introduced, I'm sure this was probably the short end of things. Because, the list can just go on and on for what it is that you guys have done and what you've contributed to the music industry, the culture on a whole. It is my pleasure to be here with you today. I've been blessed to work with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. I don't think I knew what super producer meant until I met you all. And it wasn't, oftentimes when you're in the room with a producer as an artist, at least in hip hop in the past, it was like, okay, I did my beat, now show me what you got. It wasn't this collaborative effort that I was able to share with you all. And so thank you so much, because you gave me a tool to put in my toolbox. And so after stepping out with you guys, I had a different type of experience when it came to writing. Right. So of course, there is so much to talk about. Let's start at the beginning. I understand the journey started in 1983, and when you were actually fired from the group at the time. Jam, can you talk about that for us?
Yeah, well, as Terry likes to say, he says freed. We weren't fired, we were freed from the time. But yeah, we got caught in a snowstorm in Atlanta. That's kind of the myth and the legend and the lore, I guess. And that is a true story. We were doing SOS Band. Prince had told us don't produce any other groups, and we didn't listen to him. So we're down in Atlanta. We missed the time gig. When the whole concert tour is over, we go to LA and, we basically are like, well, we're going to try to, produce and do some things. And literally the night that he actually fired us, we had gone to the studio to work, we thought on the Time album, and he fired us. And then that same day, we went over to Larrabee Sound, a different studio, and ended up mixing what became our first really big hit record as producers, which was Just Be Good to Me, from the Snowstorm SOS Band session. So it all worked out the way that it was supposed to. Very much a Hollywood ending, I guess you could say.
Let me tell you, that whole movement, SOS Band, was just, at that time, I don't think I was traveling too much yet. And so it had the whole tri-state area on lock. So I can't imagine what it was doing worldwide. So we're all thankful that it turned out that way. Terry, did you have anything to say about that?
No, Jam is right. We were freed that night. It was a very painful night because we love being with the brothers. We love being in the band and, being with the Time. And when Prince let us go, it was like heartbreaking because we had done everything that we could to stay and remain loyal to the Time, while wanting to just spread our wings in terms of production and songwriting because we could, and the only rift that we had was Prince wanting us not to do that.
Right.
You know, we were doing the time thing. People think, yeah, famous groups, they make a lot of money. And I think we were making like $125 a week or something like that.
Right.
It was crazy. And so we weren't making money, but we just loved doing what we did. And when he wouldn't allow us to spread our wings as producers or songwriters, we went out moonlighting, I guess you would call it. And the gift that we got for that was our freedom. So
the gift, you know, there's so many things that I think about in listening to the story. First, that you all were on the same accord, right? Because one could have been too frightened to leave and say, well, you go on your own. And, you know, it could have, it didn't have to go the way that it did. And you guys are just blessed to have had a united front and move together. And, you know, quite frankly, that's how a lot of really powerful, well-experienced producers lose the next generation of what's hot, because they want to own them. And, you know, you being a musician yourself shouldn't want to keep someone under wraps in that way. But, you know, I think it was for the best. We are blessed.
Definitely.
You probably would have done it later. You know, you probably would have tried a little bit longer. And then it might not have been the SOS band. It might have been some other group that you lent your incredible talent to. So let's go up to 1986, and you have a number of songs and a label. Here's one of your songs, and they insist you play it for Janet Jackson, which, by the way, is how I met you both. This song turned into What Have You Done For Me Lately, and really catapulted Janet's entire career. Control is a timeless album. And I have a two-part question. Can you speak about how that was for you both when you were on the path to your own, a path of your own, and then all of a sudden you have an opportunity with Janet to produce her album, the pivot that was needed for that to happen?
Well, we really, with some of the earlier stuff, the SOS band, Sherelle, Alexander O'Neill, those records that we were doing back then, Cheryl Lynn, Encore, Change. We had a lot of records.
You guys, Encore?
Yeah. You were today years old when you found that out, right? Like, as they say on social media. I was today years old when I found that out. Yeah, that's Terry Lewis on the funky bass on that one. So, but the point in saying that is all those records had their own characteristics. They all sounded different. So our thing was really about giving everybody their own sound and making everybody, you know, making the music for them. So when we got around to Janet, I remember it was interesting because we had a meeting with her dad and with her and some other people. And they said, you know, we want you guys to produce the Janet record. And we were like, great, we're into it. And then they played a song that we did called Heat of Heat. That was actually Patty Austin. And it was a song we had done for Quincy Jones. So it had strings and it was very kind of sophisticated, this thing. And I remember Janet going, I'm not sure if I want my album to sound like that. And we said, no. This has nothing to do with the way your album is going to sound. This just happens to be the last record we did. But your record is going to sound totally different, because our whole thing with her was we wanted to give her that attitude. Like when she was young and you saw her like on the old TV shows, she was always just like, you know, she had all this, she was sassy and feisty, like she had all this attitude. But then the records she had made to that point were all these kind of sweet, nice records. And we were like, we got to get some of that attitude back, some of that feistiness back. And then I remember her dad, Joe saying when we were leaving, he said, you guys are from Minneapolis. And we said, mm-hmm. And he said, Prince is from Minneapolis. And we said, yeah. And he said, don't have my daughter sounding like Prince. We were like, okay. Okay, Mr. Jackson, you got it. You know, so when she came to Minneapolis, though, but that was our thing. We didn't even go straight in the studio. We just hung out and talked. And we just got to know each other and just talked about different ideas. And she was telling us all kinds of different stories about, you know, I'm going out on my own, I'm leaving my parents, and I'm going to, you know, I got to do my own thing, blah, blah, blah. And as we're talking about it, we're just making mental notes, Terry and I. We're just kind of going, okay. So then at one point in time, after a week of not even going to the studio, just hanging out, right? She goes, when are we going to get started? When are we going to go to the studio and do something? And we said, oh, we're doing something here. And we showed her the lyrics to Control, or at least what we started. And she read the lyrics and she said, well, this is what we've been talking about. And we said, yeah. And she said, so whatever we talk about, that's what we're going to write about? And it's like, yeah. And then she was like, well, then I want to write about this, and I want to write about this, I want to write about. And it's like, great. And that's the thing that got her wheels turning about being a writer, because she never even thought of herself as a writer at that point in time. But that was the thing that got her excited about being a writer. So that was really that was the path, you know.
That's an awesome story. That therein lies the approach of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and how it is that you develop these ideas, these creations before you even go to record. It's this is like levels. And by the time you get to the studio, you're just so confident and certain about what it is that you're doing. You're able to give so much more of yourself during the recording process. So thank you for explaining that. The second part of that question is, what does it feel like to create such a classic album that still resonates today?
Isn't it a funny thing that most things from yesterday resonate today? It seems like we live in today's yesterday every day. You know,
today isn't enough.
Yeah, you think about it, like where we are talking about racial inequality, we talk about police injustice, we talk about social injustice, we talk about the haves, the have-nots. It's all the same story. And that's why I'm eager when anyone says, let's get back to normal. I'm like, well, normal is overrated, because that wasn't nice. We got to create a new normal moving forward. So, you know, we like to sit and you know, I'll take an applause if it's cool with y'all, but nobody's that brilliant. You know, Marvin Gaye, how many years ago was that? Made What's Going On?
50
years ago.
Saying that to a friend, like, you know, living in the same day, in the same set of circumstances.
Right. So he made What's Going On 50 years ago. Okay, so there's an accurate account for it, because I don't do trivia really well. But I do know this, is that he was talking about the seas being messed up, the skies being polluted. He was talking about social injustice. He's talking about people not having money. You know, all the same things that are being talked about now. So you know, same date, same thing. You know, different time period. Doesn't matter. We're all talking about the same things. And if you say it in a profound way, and if you say it with honest integrity, it never gets old, because there's always an application for it. You can see it every day. And, you know, just recently we went through a stretch of inequality being revealed in our old hometown. You know, our old hometown, which we love so dearly, but it's always been there to see. It's just that you had to stop to recognize it.
Right.
Because the world is, you know, like I said, getting back to normal is not a great thing for me.
Yeah.
I need a new normal. And, you know, they say equality. I say, no, I want equity. We all need a piece of what's good about life. And that's what we should all work towards. Yeah.
You know, what's so crazy is Yvonne and I were talking, and she hipped me to this 1619. And you guys have heard it. And I was just floored by some of the information that was made available. And so you all are that to me, having been involved and sort of spearheaded those Janet records, you know, that album Rhythm Nation, where she was just addressing all sorts of topics. It feels like today. And so you're right. When truth resonates, time has no hold on the truth, because it will come through, you know, every time. So switching gears a little bit, what is your astrological sign, Terry?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Okay.
I say half man, half ass.
And Jimmy?
I'm a Gemini.
You're a Gemini.
I have a good side and a better side.
Ah, isn't that cool?
And all two of them confused.
Right, exactly.
Well, you know what? I only ask because I'm looking for some substantive reason as to how it is you guys are able to just stay in sync and stay together for so many years. I don't think there is a duo that I know of that's quite as dynamic as Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. And so what has really been the key to your longevity? Apart, together and apart.
Well, I'll give you 3 words that sum up my concept of it. Respect, respects, respect.
Mm. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's the foundation. It's the foundation. It's how everything is built. We always say if you're going to build a 50-story building, which is wonderful, better dig that foundation at least 15, 20 stories deep. And so our foundation is based in respect for each other, respect of other people around us, and respect for ourselves to do the right thing for ourselves so that we can then do the right things for other people. So I think that's really important. The other distinction I'll make, because people always ask, if I say we never argue, and people go, how could that be? Everybody argues. And I say, no, not everybody argues, because arguing to me is something you're trying to win an argument. You're trying to win an argument. So if I win an argument against Terry, what does that make Terry? It makes Terry the loser. I don't want Terry to lose at anything ever in life, not something that I'm involved with. So what we say is, rather than using the word argument, we do have disagreements. Now, a disagreement is something you're trying to solve.
Right.
So because a disagreement is you think one thing, I think another thing. So now the best idea needs to win. It's not about whether it's my idea or Terry's idea. What's the best idea? That's the win. And then if that idea wins, we all win. So that's the spirit in which we do things. And that to me has been so important. But once again, as Terry says, it's about respect. That's where it starts. And you have to, that's it.
Never right or wrong, is just best.
Right.
Well, just hearing you say that, I already know an addendum to what it is that you just stated is the ability to change, right? It's the ability to change your mind so you're fluid with what it is that you're creating, and it doesn't have to be my way or no way. It's, I had this idea, it was great, but what you just presented is even better, or these two ideas combined takes us up a level. So thank you for sharing that with us. And then, before I give our sponsors a shout out, I just wanted to ask, how old were you when you met?
We think we were we debate which year it was, but I think we met in 72. And so I was probably just turned 13, I want to say.
And I was probably 15.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Woof. That is
woof. That's the word for it.
Woof. I'm just saying.
With an F on the end of it. Woof.
Well, listen, I'm not gonna say y'all know where the bodies were buried, but y'all know where the angels were set free.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
I like that one too.
I like that. I like that.
P&G sponsored this series, and they did so because of the importance to them on focusing on Black creatives. They have recently started a new program that aims to broaden the way Black people are portrayed in advertising and entertainment through an increased investment in Black directors, actors, crews, and media. Let's take a look at this clip.
If you think you know what happens next, Ask yourself why. These are the black stories we've been shown. A narrow view that limits our understanding. But there's so much more to see. Of black life. Let's widen the screen so we can widen our view.
Wow, that was powerful, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's definitely important that we broaden the scope for others to be able to see that there are many dynamics to one person's life.
Yep.
Yeah,
so,
but we have to be concerned more with what we do as opposed to what they want to see. Because they're going to see what they want to see, but what we do will reflect us. And a lot of times we look over that and we fail to stand up to what we know we are. You know, I hate the word potential because somebody made that for, you know, that and articulate. Those are two words that I like throughout the book. You know, they made articulate for somebody black that can speak halfway decent. And potential, someone's measure of what your abilities are.
But you have yet to reach them.
Yeah, but no, it's not even you have yet to reach them. It's the cap that they put on you, to me. No one knows my potential. God knows my value. I know part of my value. I have to work to fulfill his work and potential. It has nothing to do with what man sees in me. Because someone's going to see me less than I am because they want to be over me. They want to be better than me. That's just the nature of man. So I never take those things to heart. Like, you know, someone can tell you what you are. It's like in the early days, one of the guys that, you know, he's a good friend of ours now, told us we were one-hit wonders. Like if we would have listened to him, we would have stopped at the first record, you know, but that it has nothing to do with him or what his vision of us is. That's his expectation. And so now he can drown in that. So,
right.
Well, that's the Sag. That's the Sag right there.
Yeah, man.
So it is clear that your career and the artists that you have helped along the way could definitely be considered widening the screen. When both of you look back at your career, did you ever imagine the impact that you would have on Black culture as a whole?
Well, no. I think we just wanted to make music. we wanted to make music. It was a thing that we felt it made us feel really good to make music, to collaborate with people and make music. We, along the lines, I guess, or along the way, figured out that it also it uplifted people, that it was a responsibility. It was a privilege to do music and a responsibility we had to not only give people the music that they wanted, but also to give them the songs that they needed to hear. Our favorite song that we've ever been involved with is Optimistic by the Sounds of Blackness, because that was a song that we felt people needed to hear. Nobody was asking us. Matter of fact, the label at the time was mad that we were doing a gospel record. They said, "Why are you guys doing a gospel record? Why don't you, bring us another Janet Jackson record?" And it was like, no, because this is what we feel we need to do. This is what people need to hear right now. And my analogy always is, if you're going to build a 50-story building, you better dig that foundation about 15, 20 stories deep. So that was the analogy. And that's what Sounds of Blackness was to us. In building whatever it was we were going to build, we wanted to make sure that we had that foundation firm. And that foundation was in the gospel, was in the Lord. So that was that was our kind of our thought process.
Right.
Yeah, and I can tell you, Lyte, and you know, I can't say I'm Nostradamus or anything, but the first thing that I said when we were talking about coming to Los Angeles, and I told Jam, he said, what are we going to do? I said, I don't know. They need us out there.
That's his words. They need us out there.
They need us out there. And I always believed that. And I knew we had something to offer. I know we had something of value. Now, did I know culturally it was going to be a cultural changer? No. But I know that we have something to offer. And we wanted to offer that up. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the fact that we weren't getting the opportunity with the organization with Prince, you know, shouldn't deter us from offering what we know we have. Mm-hmm. So that was how that all began. So I can say, yeah, I knew we had a place. I just didn't know what that place was.
Right.
So I had to be faithful to that place. That's why people talk about hope and faith. I'm not a real hopeful person. I'm a faithful person. I move based on my knowledge that something is there for me. I don't sit around and wait for the meal.
Right.
You got to go kill something if you want to eat.
Right. You only get to eat what you kill.
There you go.
So let's talk about your new project, Volume 1. This is the first time you've ever released your own music. Wow.
How about that?
I just felt like you were so deeply embedded in everything that you created. However, okay, so this is the first time, and you have some pretty amazing features. I guess you went back and got all of the people that you have spent a significant amount of time with in helping to build out their careers through music. So you have Mariah Carey, Usher, Mary J. Blige, Boyz II Men. Can you talk about, I mean, the question is, can you talk about why now? But obviously you feel like something is missing and it ain't gonna get done unless Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis do it.
Well, for us, it's always been, I mean, what happened with us was maybe 3 years ago when we were honored to be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. We got asked, you know, a bunch of reporters asked us, you know, what is it that you guys haven't done yet? And when we thought about it, we looked over and Babyface went in the same year we went in. So we looked over at Babyface and we said, well, we never got around to doing a Babyface record, so maybe we should do that. and then we said, hey, what about if we, what would be cool is if we actually got back to doing the album that we had started long ago, where Janet ended up stealing What Have You Done For Me Lately from our album, and, you know, going on with her career. So we thought we should probably do our own album. And then the third thing of that was we thought we should tour because we had never played our own songs that we had written and produced live. So we're kind of checking off the boxes one by one. And, you know, when things get safe, hopefully we'll do the tour thing also. But it just felt like it was the right time to do it because we had started, like I say, that journey started 35 years ago. And it just felt like now was the time to make records. And we got selfish. We honestly just said, hey, we need to make records for ourselves right now. And we just said, let's go do this. And we asked a bunch of artists along the way, and they all said, yep, let's do it. And it worked out for us. So we're excited about it. And it is, you know, as you get older, there's less first times, opportunities to have first times, right? And it's interesting because even when our Babyface song went to, you know, went top 10, then went top 5. And I remember the record label even said, oh yeah, oh, you went top 5 this week. Oh, but you guys have had a lot of top 5s. And I'm like, not as artists.
Right.
Artists, you know. So it's all a new experience for us. Even talking to you, Lyte, we've obviously produced you and that before, but to talk to you as artists, speaking to you, you know, it's a first time for us. So we're just appreciative that we still have what looks like a lot of first times in front of us, you know. So we appreciate them and very much. So
tell me, what's the pros and cons of now being on the artist side of things? Or are there?
Well, I can tell you it's much easier for me just writing and producing because I swear we played the album for the label, and then, you know, they were like, oh man, everything sounds great. And then we were like, okay, great. And we're getting ready to leave. And they're like, well, wait a minute. Who's going to do the video? And wait, are you guys, who's going to do the press and who's going to do the it was like all these questions, and we never deal with those questions. It's like once we're done, we pass it off to the artist, and y'all go do all that stuff, you know, and you figure it out. We move on to the next project. So now it was like, oh, we got to figure this out now. And so that part of it's been interesting. But like I say, we just appreciate it as a first time thing. And we're rookies. You know, people think, oh, you know, when you did that other video, and I'm like, no, we haven't done a music video. So this is all new to us. Yeah. So it's been a fun, as Terry said, it's a journey that we're on, you know. Our destination is simply that the album is a celebration. It's a celebration of our 35 years and kind of trying to make the album. It's a celebration of our 40 years going back to the Time first album, which is 40 years ago this year. It's a celebration of Terry and myself, our being together for 47 or so years, something like that. No, even more than that. I think we'll be 50 years next year that we met. So there's a lot to celebrate, but we don't do it alone. It's not to celebrate ourselves, but it's to celebrate the experiences and the people that we've met along the way, like you had a chance to work with, but all the creatives, the engineers, the fans, the other producers, the other artists. You know, music is the thing that has connected us all. So this is really a celebration, is the way we look at this project, celebration of music.
Terry, was there anything you wanted to add to that?
Well, there's not a lot to add to that because, you know, those are the facts. The thing for me is I tell people all the time, I love the journey, and I hope I never arrive at the destination, because that would mean that I have to quit. It's like creating the perfect song. Once you do that, you could never actually go in and try to do another song. I hope I never create the perfect song. It's over.
Right.
Because I've done it all at that point. So
can't do no more.
They can't do no more.
I can't do no more.
So I just love the journey, and the people along the way make the journey just beautiful, and I love that part of it.
That's awesome. I only have but one. This was wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing. I have one last question, and that is, it's what's next. But I already see the vision. I'm like waiting till everything clears up. I can get my tickets. I can come see you all perform. But outside of Volume 1,
you can't come. You can't come. You have to be on the stage.
Right. Exactly. That's right.
You have to come and work.
Look, that's twofold. I'm like, oh no, I want to sit in the audience.
Yeah, we gotta hit some Ice Cream Dream.
Yes,
we gotta hit some Ice Cream Dream, and some You Want This.
I still get people. Well, they do a lot of posting of You Want This, but they also, a lot of Asian groups dance to Ice Cream Dream. They love that song. I just spoke to Millicent Shelton, who did the video for us about maybe 3-4 weeks ago. And so it's good to have built strong ties, and music is the fabric that holds us all together. Absolutely. Thank you. I would like to thank you guys so much for joining us here today. Again, this is Black Music Collective Podcast. We have been blessed to have Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and we wish you lots of love and safety on your journey, and blessings from head to your feet. Thank you. Stay tuned for our next episode, Black Music Collective Podcast.